Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a diamond in the rough I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Dylan Horton, offensive lineman out of Ouachita Baptist. Nice to have you today, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Hey, pleasure getting to know you. I mean, I want to, kind of learn a little bit more about your story and allow some people to, maybe meet the guy. You know what I mean? So
Yes, sir.
let's go ahead and get after it. Uh, Introduce yourself. So let's get going.
My name's Dylan Horton. I play offensive line at Ouachita Baptist University. I'm going into my true senior year this year, and I'm excited about it. I'm really excited for my future and what's to come.
Well, so I kind of want to walk through your story. So, and really just start at the beginning. So, let me know how long you've actually played this game.
So I have been playing football since I was in sixth grade when it was offered by my school in middle school football. So probably 12, maybe 11 years old. I've been playing the game. Played all the way through high school, and now I play at Ouachita Baptist. So I've been playing for a majority of my life.
Cool. So at least 10 years worth, which is good. It's a good number to start with. So, Dylan, in my notes have that you attended Lake Hamilton High School there in Percy, Arkansas, and along with some football, did a little bit of wrestling and also some baseball. Talk us through your high school experience and maybe if you have any, I don't know, maybe fond memory you can share of those days.
So going into my freshman year of high school, I wrestled and I played baseball, and I wrestled my freshman and sophomore year, and it was a really good experience for me. It taught me a lot of stuff that I still use in football today. I kept playing baseball all the way through high school. That was kind of baseball and football were my two main sports, and I had a lot of good memories in all three sports. Wrestling, it was really just being with the guys in the wrestling room and going to state and all that kind of stuff. And for baseball, it's the playoffs. Playoff baseball is really fun in Arkansas. There's a lot of good teams. But kind of shifting back to football, where I probably had the best memories. It was my junior year, COVID year in 2020. We were able to play. I know some states didn't have high school football or college football, but Arkansas allowed it, and we made it to the state finals that year. And that was just a really fun experience because the state semifinals, we won in overtime, which is something that, not a lot of people get to say they did to go to state. And that was really fun. Senior year, kind of the same deal. Just being on really great high school teams was an experience that I'll never forget.
Oh, so I'm trying to think about, again, you had some great success there as a high school athlete, but sometimes, when a guy transitions from high school to college, you have some things maybe. I don't know, maybe you're not there yet. Maybe your growth hasn't happened yet. I mean, we were talking before I hit record and how maybe I mean, it took a while for you to be the size that you are. So,
Yes, sir.
what was your I don't know, development like there as you're progressing through high school? I mean, were you looking like an offensive lineman for a while or what?
No. Going into my freshman year, I would say I looked far from an offensive lineman. In fact, seventh and eighth grade, I was a cross country runner along with playing football. So I was kind of a hybrid guy. I wrestled in high school at 182 pounds my freshman year and 220 pounds my sophomore year. And so going into, junior and senior year, when I kind of shifted my focus to football as that being something that I wanted to pursue, I knew that I had to make lifestyle changes to support me being an offensive lineman because that's what I, wanted to do. I didn't have an ambition to play any other position. So I really worked hard in the weight room, started eating a lot. And I would say when I got to college, I was probably still underdeveloped in a sense. I was, 280-pound offensive lineman, come from a wing T school, cornbread fed high school football, just running the rock. And there were some areas in my game that I really needed to work on. And I think when I got to college, weightlifting and learning different things at offensive lineman instead of just diving downhill head first became very, very important to me. So, since my freshman year of high school, I've put on, 105 pounds or something like that, or no, 125 pounds, and probably grown, 5 inches. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, the reason why I ask is, often people ask, what leads a guy to go here, there, or whatever. And a lot of times it is truly just developmental. I mean, some people develop late, which is
Mhm.
fair, of course. And so you never know what happens. And of course, as you had mentioned, I mean, it just kind of depends on like, what style of offense or, whatever, system you guys are running in high school. Maybe it doesn't necessarily translate very well. And so the recruiting sometimes can be awkward
Yeah.
for guys in that situation. So, um, how'd you end up at Ouachita Baptist, man? I mean, obviously a little local. And so maybe perhaps that was your first choice. Like, dude, I don't know, but talk me through, you getting there to Ouachita Baptist.
Yeah. So in high school, especially my sophomore and junior year, baseball was a big part of my life. And I had managed to get almost the same schools offered me for baseball that ended up offering me for football. And
Cool.
so my junior summer, camp season for everybody, I decided that baseball probably wasn't for me because I was a 275-pound catcher. And that really isn't a thing you see a lot. And so I decided that, football was going to be something that I was going to try to do. And so I went to, all these camps, the UCA mega camp and all that. And my first offer was just some D3 schools. And then I went to the Ouachita camp and decided that I was, this was going to be something I did. I really liked Coach Shock. I really liked everything that he brought to the table, and they offered me. I didn't commit yet. I ended up getting some more GAC offers. I got an MIAA offer, but in December, whenever the coaches sat down with me and we talked, yeah, I decided that this was where I wanted to be, and so I think that me focusing or not being kind of this gigantic high schooler probably kind of led to me being here, but I wouldn't change anything. And I think that I developed here and been coached, and my life's been changed more here than it would anywhere else.
Well, Dylan, I was kind of looking at your player profile that Watchta has for you, and I was looking through a couple things there that I found fairly interesting, and seemingly having somewhat of a perfect GPA. Talk to me a little bit about your academic achievements there before we get to your football stuff.
Okay.
So, go for
Uh,
it.
yeah, I'm a civil engineering major. Coming out of high school, I wanted to do architecture, but it wasn't offered at really any of the schools that offered me, and so I decided civil engineering was something I wanted to do. And I've always been. My parents have always harped on school before sports, that kind of deal. And I got to Washington. It was a really big goal of mine to maintain that. I think it's a 3.85. I really wanted to keep my GPA as good as it could be. And so I've had the opportunity. I've worked hard enough to keep it where it needs to be at. And I was an academic All-American, which is a really big achievement for me. And I've made the president's list and the dean's list, I think, 3 times each. So those are just achievements. They don't really mean much. What really means a lot to me is working as hard as I do and seeing it pay off.
Cool. Well, you definitely have both on and off the field. I mean, like you had mentioned, academic All-American. On the field was honorable All-American last year, as well as first team All-Conference, All-Region, all that sort of thing. I mean, when we look at Ouachita Baptist football is very competitive. You guys, when I was, looking at the record that you guys are able to churn out each and every year, you guys really have only lost maybe a handful of games over the course of your tenure there. So let's talk about the football aspect there for Ouachita. So talk me through the offense and your role in such. So go for it.
So our offense has always been, since I've been here, we like to run the ball. We like to, tote the rock. And I originally started tackle my freshman year. My freshman year, there were, I think the whole offensive line was all conference. We had a couple All Americans on the offensive line. So I really had a lot of dudes to learn from, learn how they worked, learn how they hone their craft. And I learned a lot from them. A lot of them were, COVID seniors, so they were gone after the 22 season. And I moved into that starting role at right tackle. And even though I was on the perimeter, I think run blocking is something that, I kind of thrive in. I like, getting down and, blowing people off the ball. And then last season I went to left tackle and, run blocking isn't all I do. I only gave up 2 sacks last year at left tackle. I think I only 5 pressures. Um, and there's some elite edge rushers in this conference that have, shown time and time again that they can, a bunch of them transfer out and go to, much bigger schools. And so I think that, our offense has become more balanced as I've been here as a more, we run the ball and we pass the ball. It's not strictly run. And I think that that's been able to develop me into be a pretty balanced offensive lineman. Going into this season, I've kind of moved to the interior, and I think I'll be able to use those run blocking skills and getting out in space when I'm pulling, kind of like it was when I was in high school playing right guard. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people, when they are projecting you to perhaps go to the pros, it's going to have to be on the interior somewhere, whether it be guard or center, mainly because of your size. I mean, listed around 6'3.5", 310, 315, somewhere around there. So, um, great that you're able to play some interior, this year. Developed into a very, good quality guard at the Division II level. Really one of the, top at your position, at your level of play. I know that doesn't happen overnight. There's a lot of work that goes into that. Got to get yourself in the film room, in the weight room, get yourself right. Talk me through how this change has happened, putting yourself in that position. Specifically, talk to me about your dedication to the weight room.
So in the weight room, like I said earlier, with the being an undersized guy, I've always loved the weight room. I've always loved like being able to go in there when nobody else is in there and put in work that will show later. So I came in here, I wasn't the strongest guy my freshman year, and me and a couple of my buddies here, we just decided that we were going to give everything we had into the program and to become the best versions of ourselves. And so I started here. I was a 270-pound cleaner. I power clean 350 now. Bench press is the biggest one that I improved on. I probably came in bench pressing 265, 275, and now I'm a 400-pound bencher. And then squat kind of has always been my forte. I've put 100, but I squatted 500 in high school. I squat 640 now. And so being able to see the progress that I've made in the weight room has been something that's really, really fun. And it's something that I don't plan on, slowing down with anytime soon.
Cool. Dylan, I will be frank with you. I mean, oftentimes when I talk to people at, perhaps lower levels of play, Division II, Division III, the weight room stuff maybe isn't that much of an emphasis. If we're being honest, and I think some of that is just, either it's the equipment, the funding or that, area, or, again, maybe, coaches just don't, focus too much on it. But I mean, you guys have really put together a solid squad, which starts from the ground up, of course. And you had mentioned earlier about the really just the offense there and how they have really made it a point of emphasis to establish the run early. Again, uh, hey, that's the way it's been since you've been there. I know last season I had an opportunity to interview Kendall Givens,
Mhm.
huge part of that offense for the longest time, such a stud. How's that offense going to look this year, man? Talk about the pieces around you this year.
Yeah. So, Kendall is still a very good friend of mine. And it was, it's sad to see him go because, the 780 touchdowns he had they left with him. But, I think this year we're responding just the same as we would if anybody else left. We've got, Chris Henley, a good back, and, our offensive lineman our offensive line is just getting better and better. I don't see an issue with the run coming up. I think that with the offensive line we have now, we're going to be able to have the continued success that we've had, establishing the run early, and then the backs that we have now are just going to, keep carrying on the culture that Kendall and then TJ Cole started back in the day.
Cool. I want to reflect a little bit on this past season, and then we'll look forward to this season. So, again, you guys seemingly always in the mix for playoff contention and that sort of thing. But I kind of want to talk about at least one game from last year that I thought was pretty nice, man. You guys were able to dethrone the guys at the top, the guys at the very, very top. That being against Harding, you guys were able to get a win over them. Talk about that game, if you don't mind. I know that there's a whole lot of hype going into that. You guys coming in as an underdog, but ultimately coming out with the W. What do you remember from that game?
I remember going into it that week, and Coach Knight just telling us it's just a game. It's just a game. You know, we're going to go out there and we're going to play. We're not going to play up or down to our competition. We're going to play our style of football. And so going into that week, it was exciting. You know, they're the number one team in the nation, and I don't remember what our rank was. We were the underdog. I know that. And you know, we knew that we needed to be on our best game. And so we went into that game and we were, and our defense did really good, and we scored when we needed to. Harding fielded a great team that year, like they do most years, and kind of just a back and forth battle between the two of us. And it was really fun to come out on top of that game. It was one of the cooler experiences I've had here.
Cool. So is that another game you have circled for this upcoming year, or what, man? What's the expectations for this year?
I think that, you know, I don't really circle teams that are later in the season. My focus is on East Central right now, our first game of the year. The expectation is always win game one coming into the season. And then once we win game one, it's win game two. I try not to look too far ahead because then you can forget where you're at. And, you know, bad things can happen. So I try to, you know, stay present in the moment. And, you know, the next team up is East Central. So I'm really excited about that game and going out there and starting the season 1-0.
Awesome. Appreciate your focus there. I mean, I think a lot of coaches would commend you for that. Obviously, been trained as such. Really coming to the table as a leader on your team. I mean, you've been there for a while. I mean, you're a returning starter, so a lot of people looking to you to maybe make that impact this upcoming season, and maybe even be better than you have been in the past. Anything that you've maybe been working on, like during the off season, in order to better your game? Like, what are you doing these days?
I think a big thing for me moving into the interior is just to work on my feet, work on my speed in the interior, because I think if you are a guard that's, you know, quick on your feet, you can really cause problems for the defense, especially in pull scenarios and then just typical run block, pass block kind of stuff. A big thing for me has been agilities. My strength is always, you know, at the top of my list, and things like that. Just working on getting in the film room, you know, learning this position. I played a little bit of it last year in short yardage situations, but you know, it's a little bit different going there full time. Also, you know, I'm always ready to, you know, bounce over to center too. I've been learning center as well. And so I think it's cool that I'm at a position now where, you know, I could play any five. I could play any position that you throw me out on the offensive line, and I know everything to do there. I could tell everyone what to do there. And that's something that I've really been working on this offseason and something that I'm really proud of.
Cool. Well, definitely ready and primed for this upcoming season. Obviously, you know, people really need to be, paying attention to Ouachita Baptist and what they're going to be able to do this season. Dylan, I want to step away for a minute and learn more about you as the guy under the helmet. So, anything that you feel you want people to know about you, man? Any interesting, fun facts, hobbies, interests? Anything, man. Just give me something.
A couple of my hobbies are, you know, I really like fishing. I like going out, and, you know, around here, I don't have a boat out here. So I really enjoy, you know, going to the lake or going to find little ponds and fishing. I like golfing. I think that that's something that I've really started to do since I've been here with some of my friends, and some of the downtime we have is go golf. Um, and then, you know, a simple one that I like to do is just hang out with my buddies, watch movies and stuff like that. I'm a pretty simple guy. I like what a lot of other, you know, football players like, and that's, you know, fishing, golfing, watching movies in your downtime, hanging out with friends, stuff like that.
Cool. Dylan, I picked out some fun questions to ask you. Again, they got nothing to do with football. We're just here, just giving you some silly questions to answer. So just play along with me if you don't mind.
Yes,
So,
sir.
uh, are you a morning or are you a night guy?
I'm a morning guy. I like to wake up early. I like to get in the word early in the morning and spend some quiet time in the morning. And, you know, I tend to go to bed a little bit earlier than a lot of my buddies do.
That's interesting. I mean, to each their own. Some people can get up early, some people can't get to sleep, whatever. But definitely appreciate that. Um, a favorite superhero?
Ooh. I think that the one I've had this conversation multiple times this week with some of my buddies actually. I think that it's going to be Batman. I think Batman is the coolest superhero to me. Uh, Superman and all that stuff is cool, but Batman to me, with all the movies and stuff, I didn't grow up a big superhero guy, but The Dark Knight is a great movie, and I think that solidified Batman as my top superhero.
Well, definitely appreciate that one. Although some people might question whether or not he's actually a superhero.
I know.
No, it's fine. I'm just teasing you. Pizza or tacos?
Ooh, wish I could say both. If I had to pick one, it would have to be pizza. I think pizza is my go-to because I eat a lot of it here. But a good pizza, it's hard to beat that.
No, I'm likely going to have some this evening myself. French fries or onion rings?
French fries,
Okay,
100% French fries every day.
gotcha. You have any pets at home, like a dog, cat, or what?
I do. We have five goats. I have two dogs, Juanita and Duck. They're both healers. And then used to have some cows, but got them. We had them back in the day. So we've had pets. We used to have chickens and ducks. I'm a big pet guy. Got a few cats, outside cats. Yeah.
Wow. So you in like the farming community or
I would
anything? I
say
mean, you
we're
had mentioned like all these farm animals. I mean, I just
mm,
didn't know like what your setup is.
yeah, we live kind of out in the woods a little bit. We've got some land, not enough to run a ton of cattle or stuff, but we've had cattle in the past and we've run it on our land, and we've had chickens and we've gotten eggs, and kind of like a micro farm, I would say. Two
Okay.
cows, eight chickens, stuff like that.
Whatever sustains the
Yeah.
family. I completely get that. Uh, let's shift gears just ever so slightly. Obviously, you're a fan of the sport. You've been watching the sport for the longest time. Who have you been watching at the next level? Are there guys who you love to emulate? Watch any of their particular game? Like who you a big fan of?
I think it's probably an answer you get a lot, but you know, going in, if when the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to be more of an undersized guy. Jason Kelsey is a guy that I've been watching a lot. I've been, before I would just watch him kind of as a fan or kind of as like just watching him from the outside, but I've really been diving into how he plays the game. And it's really, really cool to me that he's able to do what he does at the size, or do what he did at the size that he was
Right.
at. And then kind of taking it back, I think Anthony Munoz is probably my, favorite player. The what he did is something that not a lot of people are ever going to do again. Probably, my opinion, no one. I think he's the best. So Munoz at tackle, and then Jason Kelsey, in the interior is something that's really, really, really cool to me.
Uh, Jason Kelsey, definitely interesting character on the field as well as off the field. Are you that kind of character amongst your team? Like, do you see yourself as I don't know, some wild character type guy on your team or what?
I think that I'm probably a little bit more toned back than he is. I'm
Yeah,
kind
he's
of a
over the
calmer
top.
guy. Yeah. But on the field, I find similarities in our game. I'm not, I'll never be, a Jason Kelsey-esque, one of the best players of all time in the NFL, but him, kind of in the same story going as a PWO to Cincinnati and stuff like that. It's really cool to, compare myself to him and my story to his.
Cool. Well, Dylan, it's been fun getting to know you as a player and as a person. Do need to wrap up our time here. Obviously a whole lot going on at Ouachita Baptist this year, as you had mentioned, kind of making that transition from tackle to guard. And then of course the hope is to continue to be a very successful team, get to the playoffs, make a push for great things this upcoming year. And then you as a player, as a prospect, hopefully getting an opportunity at the next level. Close us with your thoughts as to that. I mean, what do you have to tell all these scouts out there who hopefully are watching you and your film? And what do you feel you bring to the table as a prospect this season?
I think I bring to the table, speed and quickness. Coming from a multi-sport background, I've had to use my speed a little bit different than someone who just played one sport their whole lives. I think versatility is another big thing for me. I'm kind of a Swiss Army knife on the offensive line. I can, be put in any situation that you need, and I feel like I'll thrive there. I think that I'm still developing in my strength and stuff. I don't think I'm anywhere near the size or the strength that I will be in a year. I think that still have a lot of room to grow, and I think a lot of offensive linemen may kind of slow, and I don't think I'm anywhere near slowing. I think I'm still growing and becoming the best version of myself.
Well, certainly appreciate the humility, Dylan, but I will have to say probably one of the better offensive linemen in Division II these days, and want to wish you and your team all of the best success this season. Okay,
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
sure thing. Once again, I have with me Dylan Horton, offensive lineman out of Ouachita Baptist. Definitely watch him and his team this season.